Hi, YouTube, who might be out there, any of you. This is a continuation of this Patriarchy is Not Working, Part 4. And I would like to, this is in honor of Diane. She's my oldest daughter's stepmother, and she just passed suddenly a couple days ago. So just in remembrance, and I don't really want to say any more about that. There are people really hurting for that. So today I want to continue with this. I'm going to read a little bit out of this book, and this I highly recommend you getting this book, whether you're in therapy or not, for with abusive people. And I don't, gosh, you know, I don't remember if I put this book up for a long time or not. I have books scattered about that I put away. This is a must-read to understand maybe what you may be experiencing. If you are a woman out there who you don't even know what's happening to you. You don't feel well, you think it's all about you, there must be something wrong with you. Sometimes abused women even turn to alcohol and drugs just so they can live with the abuse. My mom did. I have to say, I am so grateful that my mother recovered from alcoholism, and she is still alive. She's 88. But she is still alive for me to forgive her and to really understand what she was going through. A lot of women turn to alcohol and drugs. I never knew that. And it's, you know, my God, they're kind of tortured people. So, and it is very destructive. You know, they can do some really awful things. So, this book is a must, and if you have those kind of problems, please go get some help. There is some help out there, and you'll find lots of loving people out there to help you. So, anyway, he's got a chapter in here called The Types of Abusive Men. And I'm really not working from any script today. I was just kind of moved by this death, and boy, when somebody's gone, they're gone, and they can't talk for themselves. So, and also, you know, I was reading about this Chris Watts situation. His mother is quite sure he didn't commit the crimes, and he just, you know, bargained for his sentencing to stay alive. I have asked before on another video what was his childhood like, and that, you know what, that just sounds typical. A son who can absolutely do no wrong. Never, ever. Okay, so I shouldn't really say too much about that either, because there are real people having to deal with real loss. But his mistress did come forward. She realized what a liar he was. He didn't wear a red wedding ring, and he said he was close to getting a divorce. This guy was a real liar. So, anyway, this book deals with the different kinds of abusive men. And listen, there is a difference between men and women. And I have referred to Leonard Slane's books, and I will again and again and again. We really have to raise our sons differently. We really do. So, to be responsible, empathetic, compassionate people who are not abusive to women. Someone who may be physically smaller than them, maybe even more vulnerable than them emotionally. Okay, now in chapter 4, he has the types of abusive men. I'm sorry the lighting's not any better than it is. You know, I'm in the Northwest. God, our days get dark. I have never gotten used to it. I have my wonderful little Dio with me, my little Shih Tzu. I may have the thumbnail on here of him. And I don't know how long this will go or how many different personalities I will go through. I may have to do quite a few of these. But on page 77, one of the things he does bring up is, now this is from a paragraph, it's towards the beginning of the chapter. Viewed from another angle, however, abuse doesn't vary that much. One man uses a little more of one ingredient and a little less of the other, but the overall flavor of the mistreatment has core similarities. Assaults on the woman's self-esteem, controlling behavior, undermining her independence, disrespect. Remember, I've brought that one up before. If he does not respect you, you know what respect feels like. And you know when you're being disrespected. Now, you may not be able to put your finger right on there, but you know you feel bad. You just feel bad. Each abused woman has times of feeling that a riptide is dragging her under the sea, and she struggles for air. Confusion has been part of the experience of almost every one of hundreds of abused women I have spoken with. You see, while he was going through treating these abusive men, he also, since they're such liars, he'd also talk to the partners that they had to really see what was going on and see if they were improving, see if there was continuing abuse. That's how he could really find out the truth. Whether because of the abusers, oh gosh, excuse me, you know, you should know I have such sinus problems here. God help me. I'm working on it. I sometimes can't pronounce things real well because of it. It's better than when I lived in Seattle. I had to really try hard to, it's easier over here anyway, let's put it that way. Okay. Manipulative, his popularity, or simply the mind-bending contrast between his profession of love and his vicious psychological or physical assaults. Every abused woman finds herself fighting to make sense out of what is happening. So there you go. Here you go. Half of the human race. And, you know, is there any hope in sight? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. The first description he has here is called the, well, let me first go through, because we may not get through them all today, because I'm already at 8 minutes. You know, I'm always worried about the time. The first one is the demand man, Mr. Right, the water torturer, the drill sergeant, Mr. Sensitive, the player. You probably know what that's about. Like Chris Watts, he doesn't wear a wedding ring. Rambo. You see, they can be any one of these kinds, or even a combination. So I can always tell which kinds I've been with. The victim, the terrorist. So it's good to, you know, that what they're doing here, and what psychologists do, is they, in a way that is not attached, in a detached way, they study behaviors and people's thinking. So this is where this comes from. I'll tell you, I hate it when I see another woman hit the dust. And, you know, I have 2 aunts that hit the dust. I am so grateful my mother didn't hit the dust. And I am grateful that I am still here, and I'm going to do my very best to be here. I think I am a strong soul. I know part of my reason to be here was to actually help with this, but You know, yeah. And I'm still working on it. So let's start with Mr. the Demand Man and see how far we get today. The Demand Man is highly entitled. He expects his partner's life to revolve around meeting his needs and is angry and blaming if anything gets in the way. He becomes enraged if he isn't catered to or if he is inconvenienced in any minor way. The partner of this man comes to feel that nothing she does is ever good enough and that he is impossible to make him happy. He criticizes her frequently, usually about things that he thinks she should have done or done better for him. Is every highly demanding partner an abuser? No. There are specific elements to the Demand Man's style. Number 1, he has little sense of give and take. His demands for emotional support, favors, caretaking, or sexual attention are well out of proportion to his contributions. He constantly feels that you owe him things that he has done nothing to earn. He exaggerates and overvalues his own contributions. If he was generous one day back in 1997, you are probably still hearing about it today as proof of how wonderfully he treats you and how ungrateful you are. He seems to keep a mental list of any favors or kindnesses he ever does and expects each one paid back at a heavy interest rate. He thinks you owe him tremendous gratitude for meeting the ordinary responsibilities of daily life when he does, but takes your contributions for granted. Number 3, when he doesn't get what he feels is his due, he punishes you for letting him down. Number 4, when he is generous or supportive, it's because he feels like it. When he isn't in the mood to give anything, he doesn't. He is positive or loving toward you when he feels the need to prove to himself or to others that he is a good person, or when there is something that he is about to demand in return. In other words, it's about him, not you. The longer you have been with him, the more his generous seeming actions appear self-serving. If your needs ever conflict with his, he is furious. At these times, he attacks you as self-centered or inflexible, turning reality on its head with statements such as, "All you care about is yourself." Oh boy, have we not heard that? He tends to work hard to convince outsiders of how selfish and ungrateful you are, speaking in a hurt voice about all the things he does for you. At the same time, the Demand Man is likely to be furious if anything is demanded on him. Not only are you not supposed to demand any favors, you aren't even supposed to ask him to take care of his own obligations. If you ask him to clean up a mess he's left, he responds, "I'm not your effing servant." I had to abbreviate that. If you ask him to pay money he owes you or to work more hours to help out with the household expenses, he says, "You're a typical woman. All you want from me is my money." If you complain to him of how rarely he is there for you, he'll say, "You are a needy, controlling..." I'm going to abbreviate again. It starts with a V. He keeps twisting things around backward in these ways so that any effort you make to discuss your needs or his responsibilities switches abruptly to being about his needs and your responsibilities. The Demand Man is sometimes less controlling than other abusers as long as he is getting his needs met on his terms. He may allow you to have your own friendships or support you in pursuing your own career, but the effects on you of your partner's extreme entitlement can be just as destructive and severe control. Okay, the central attitudes driving the Demand Man are: it's your job to do things for me, including taking care of my responsibilities if I drop the ball on them. If I'm unhappy about any aspect of my life, whether it has to do with our relationship or not, it's your fault. You should not place demands on me at all. You should be grateful for whatever I choose to give. I am above criticism. I am a very loving and giving partner. You're lucky to have me. Now, I think I don't know if I've been with a demand man or not. I did review these a long time ago, but I do remember someone saying how lucky I was to have him. You know, and you know what? At the time, I thought, God, he's probably right. I had such a low image of myself. And of course, that, you know, was part of the things I had to go and get cleared up. And so that's the first one. I don't know. This is going to take a long, might take quite a few of these, but you know what? It might just help somebody sometime. And, oh, I'm in the motorhome. I can see when we get our mail. But anyway, that's the first one. And the next one will be Mr. Right. And, gosh, I guess these will be a little bit long, but maybe I'll try to maybe do 2 at a time next time. I did want to bring Diane up. I just feel something, you know, I feel that I am really grateful my mother is still alive. And I can't say any more about it, but I can say things about other things. And this is why I do these videos. And, you know, listen, it's shedding light. It's going to be okay because things are getting better. I actually do think in the millennial generation, I think I do see young men who are more respectful of women. And even in the generation before, oh, good. So I do think hopefully every generation is getting better. I do remember my therapist telling me, though, you know, there's so much I just didn't understand when I first went to her. I just, you know, it just took clearing trauma and knowledge, reading, understanding, because you don't. And you know what? Most of our culture is still awfully ignorant of what really is abusive. But I didn't understand what she was saying when, you know, it's getting worse. I didn't understand that. So I hope that I do see a lot of young men, millennial type men, I think, that have a healthy respect for women. I sure hope so. But I don't know. She has, my therapist had helped a lot of college women, a lot of rapes, date rape, all that kind of thing. So, boy, do we need young men who will be a good man, you know, who will stand up for women and make sure that their human rights are respected. That's one thing we need, you know. There's nothing like that protective male who really loves and respects and likes women in a healthy way. So anyway, that's today. And I just want to say another thing, you know. For instance, my mother became an alcoholic, and yes, this whole abuse thing is, the core is this abusive, narcissistic person, and it spreads out to the rest of the family, and it causes so many problems. I mean, I cannot tell you, so much harm, and I'm glad that there is more knowledge of these things and more help than there was, like, for instance, when my mother was going through it. So, all right. I did want to bring up one other thing. Please forgive me. I have allergies, and I don't know. I just have some health issues, so bear with me. You know, I was in a car accident years ago where my head hit a windshield and broke it. I should have gone to the hospital. I didn't, and I guess I was okay, although I have had other concussions from other car accidents. I had one when I was younger, a definite concussion. Someone hit me from behind when I was in my 20s. Anyone who has a head injury should go to the doctor, the emergency room, or a hospital, or what are these? It took my husband when he had the problem with the tree and hit his head. He wouldn't go to the emergency room. I got him to the the urgent care. Thank you. The urgent care. So it's very important whether someone's drinking or taking drugs, especially if they're drinking or taking drugs, or they have fallen and hit their head. And they feel there's certain symptoms, especially if they feel like they can't quite stay awake, you need to get them to a doctor. And I just wanted to say that. I think it's important to say that don't take those things lightly. So anyway, I have to say it. Okay. Anyway, I'm doing these because I want to shed some light on things. And I'll tell you, women have got to understand these things. They really do. So if they can sidestep them, completely avoid them, or if they do step into it, maybe they can get out and recover and have a good life. All right. Blessings to all. Love to all. I'll see you on the inner and feel you in my heart.